I hate black lipstick smear all over, and I don't know if did that either. Weird. Sure. Hey, you know, I don't know. I don't want to go gossip these days. I tried it once. I'm so pale. That's like, no, I don't mean it like that. I realize I'm very bad. I'm too pale to wear that. It just doesn't look right. I know probably not making a very case, but it doesn't work. I realize what you're trying to say. It's just really not specific style. It's like very hey, well, I can't take something so. No, I never used this girl, so do you know why I was
I was not afraid it sounds like crap. I hate being confused. Brother, good to see you. Picking up sound in the other room. Emily, can you hear me?
Check. Okay, how is that? Did that change anything? Yay, we did it. Okay, cool. So sorry about that, guys. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's get started. There we go. Cool. Does it no longer sound like crap, Brandon? I'm still trying to figure out what crap sounds like. I don't want to tell you what it sounds like. You're welcome, Brandon. Okay, cool. All right, now it's working. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, well, let's jump in. So Emily, can say something so I know that you're here.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so guys, we're going to tackle one big question first, and then we're going to answer any questions that you guys have. So Emily, talk to us about landed costs. And I adjusted the name of the YouTube title to not landed costs, because a lot of people don't know what that is, but to what are startup costs for a business, but explain what that is. And then let's jump into what does it cost to start an Amazon business. Go for it, Emily.
Yeah, so this was kind of something I knew going into it, but I didn't have as much information as I needed to think about because I'd never imported products from China before. And so we all know about the kind of basic startup costs that we incur, like whether it's forming a business, LLC, or whatever structure you focus on. It could be, you know, getting a lawyer, an accountant. There's all these kind of business things. We know that part. But oftentimes we hear about this landed cost. What is that cost? And there's so many costs of goods sold kind of things that go into that answer. That could be obviously the product cost, but it could be packaging. It could be, you know, the actual shipping. And so you have to think through all the kind of steps in the supply chain of how this product gets to you and all the cost structure that might come out of your bottom line. Because oftentimes when I find what I think is a good product idea, I think, oh, the margin on this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to do this. And then you work through the supply chain and you get it all the way to Amazon and you realize, wow, that wasn't fun. It took so much out of my bottom line to get the product here. And so that could be, you know, a matter of cents or it could be dollars. A lot of times it costs more than the product costs itself to get packaging and shipping to the US.
And shipping and the custom fees. Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was stuff that I wasn't familiar with going into this because when I wrote business plans or did stuff with product evaluation, it wasn't an e-commerce space and it wasn't importing products. So that was kind of news to me. So in addition to all the startup structural business costs that we've talked about in other segments, you need to get really familiar with how to get to your gross margin And then on top of that, to think about advertising expense and other expenses that are cutting out. That's how you do a really thorough product evaluation. And that was stuff that was kind of lost on me at first, and I had to learn the hard way. So
yeah. So let's just summarize what she said. So a landed cost is the cost of getting it built, shipped, packaged, boom, it lands in the US, Amazon Fulfillment Center, landed cost. Now that doesn't include your PPC cost. So the question comes up a lot, how much do I need to start, Emily? What are your thoughts on that? How much money, if I want to start selling Amazon today, how much money do I need before I get started? And real quick, guys, thank you so much for the compliments to my house. This actually isn't my house. This is the Just One Night offices. And no, I'm not at Wendy's. Why did you think I was at Wendy's? I have not eaten at Wendy's since I was like 12 years old. So I have no idea. Does that look like Wendy to you guys?
That would be a nice Wendy's.
Okay, back to you. So how much money do I need, Emily, to start? Just like, what do I need? Give me a perspective on that. I know there's not an exact number, but can you give me some kind of range and a little bit of practical advice on that?
Yep. So I think you would probably need no less than $500 realistically. I think a more realistic average number would be around $3,000. Obviously, it depends on the space, but how I like to have people think about it, and I wish I had thought about it back in the day, is if you're selling a small and lightweight product, you can airship that to yourself very quickly. And so you can manage your inventory in a way that's super advantageous to keep costs low up front while you test the product in the marketplace and things like that. I didn't pick a heavy product, but I picked a product that I couldn't bundle in China and then send in. And so there's another cost. There's a prep cost that I wasn't even thinking of, you know. So I think you could operate with $500 to $3,000 depending on the size, the weight, the competitiveness of the market, and so on. I always like to plan extra in my budget because there's always those hidden costs. And as much as you can calculate Amazon fees and all these things, these are all kind of best guesses going into it. So
and one thing I want to add to that, just one thing I want to add to that real quick, Emily, is, and guys on Instagram, we're on YouTube right now, so I'm taking these questions, but I hope you can still hear Emily okay and you get value out of this. On Wednesday, we do this on YouTube, specifically for the Just One Dime Seth Can Eat YouTube channel, and it's called Stump Seth. So if any of you guys can stump me, I will send you a free iPad. Now I get to decide if you stump me or not, but I'll be fair. But if you can stump me, I will send you a free iPad. This is Stump Seth Day. So I want you to try to stump Seth. Now, I do have the option of pulling out my secret weapon. Her name is Emily. And she might be able to de-stump me. And if she can de-stump me, you don't get the iPad. So technically, you have to stump both Seth and Emily, just letting you guys know. Okay, back to you. So one thing I want to mention, you guys, when you are starting your business, you do not have to become an LLC right away. Start collecting taxes right away. Get everything set up right away. If you're thinking that way, you're probably not going to do very well. Any person who has experience as an entrepreneur will tell you this. Anyone who's wise. You need to move to money quickly. Why would you think about the business before the customer? If there is no customer, there is no business. So the first thing you're going to think of is, what product am I going to sell? How do I move to cash as quickly as possible and start making money? Then after I've been selling for a little while and I'm already a sole proprietorship, which costs almost nothing, then I can pay the 200 and some fee, depending on the state you're in, to upgrade to an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp or a B Corp if you choose to. Then I can go back and start building other things out. Like if I had started on Amazon and said, oh, I need an office, that would have been crazy. There's no way. I started sitting at my desk, very ugly office, and the only thing I put money into was products to sell. That's it. That's the only thing I did. I knew in my mind, I have to get money. I have to get money, because if you don't have money, the other three big assets, people, time, and knowledge, they're not going to exist. They're not going to do anything for you if you don't make money. Money's the least important, but it's also one of the first ones you have to get. Even if that means you go through your house and you find things you don't need and you just start selling them on Craigslist or in yard sales or on eBay or even on Amazon. You start doing arbitrage, you generate cash. Okay, so again, if you're the kind of person you're like, Seth, I have to know all my taxes ahead of time. I have to know what kind of company. I have to be incorporated. I have to know my business partners. I have to know future insurance for employees. All of that stuff, you are wasting your energy, because the purpose for that is to serve your customer. So first, go get a freaking customer. Go get someone buying your stuff. Then you can take that money, put it back into your business. That's why Emily said 500. That's the lowest I've ever seen. Up to 3,500. She's talking about inventory. So I'll give you guys an example. The first batch of inventory I ever purchased was under $500. Now I didn't differentiate at all, but it still sold really well because it wasn't on Amazon, being sold by Amazon by any other person. And I started making $100 a day off of under $500 on my first, and I put in big quotes, you guys, private label product, because it really wasn't differentiated. But my lack of knowledge actually worked for me because I moved very quickly to cash. So whatever you do, don't get stuck in this thinking, I have to get everything perfect and then I'll start. Because guess what? Nothing will ever be perfect. Become comfortable with ambiguity, become comfortable with questions, become comfortable with challenges, become comfortable with yourself having great days, difficult days, in-between days. You guys have seen me talk on Instagram very transparently. You've seen Emily talk about this stuff. We're not giving you a rosy picture of entrepreneurialism, nor a horrible picture. We're just saying, look, this is life. We love it, but it's hard. And you can choose. You can be broke and have a hard life, or you can be rich and it be hard. Which would you rather have, right? And I think that's why you're here. Emily, anything you want to add to that before we start taking questions?
I was just going to say something that occurred to me the other day that I started saying within coaching sessions is if somebody came to me with a product they had invented, I would say, okay, we need to have proof of concept that this can actually work and is desirable in the marketplace. But if you're picking a product that exists on Amazon, it's really easy to fall into this mindset like, I don't need proof of concept. Everyone loves these headphones. Well, yes, they do, but that doesn't mean that you're the right person to sell them because there's all this, there's just all these details to what the other competitors have access to, their cash flow, are they manufacturers? There's all these things to consider. And so just because it's the right product doesn't mean it's the right product for you. And we have to think in the mindset of just because headphones are popular doesn't mean they should be popular for us just automatically. We still have to go through that proof of concept. And that's why if you can be super nimble and competitive with the amount of inventory you can access at any one time, get it as close to kind of just-in-time inventory instead of holding a lot of inventory, you can be super competitive and test a lot of things out.
Yeah, very good point. I just rejected a product. We got this close to having serious conversations. We had some, but not serious ones with suppliers, and we rejected it. We got this close, guys, to that. And the reason is all the criteria matched up great. Even the price was pretty decent. The reviews were low. The demand was high. It was a low risk product. Like everything was great. But you guys want to know why we said no to the product? Because we couldn't differentiate it in a way that's significant. Which means once we launched, it would just be, here's a competitor's products, here's Seth's product, and the only difference is, yeah, they got a nice looking product. Oh, maybe a little nice, better packaging, but they don't have reviews yet. And their price is about the same. Why would I buy theirs? Now, I think we could make money. Eventually, we'd start selling and pick up and sell, be like a slow launch. But then what would happen is the two big differentiators would be reviews and price. In other words, people are going to buy the one that has better reviews or lower price or both if there's nothing else to make it stand out. But if there's something else to make it stand out that obviously shows it's better, then reviews and price have less of an impact on that product's sales. And that's really, really important. So guys, be okay with the fact that you may research a product and say no to it before you launch. Don't feel like this, man, I've been so with this for so long, I just have to make it work. That kind of thinking is bad thinking, and it can end up costing you a lot of time and money. Okay, let's keep going, guys. So Emily, I'm just gonna start going through questions. Great questions, you guys. And remember, this is called Stump Seth. So if you can stump me and Emily as well, I will send you a free iPad. That is my promise. All right. I have, let's see, can I use the PPC research method to find what color do the customers want? For those of you guys who don't know what Alan's talking about, let me give you a brief explanation. If I decide to purchase, several of these grill cleaners from Walmart or Kohl's, let's just say I buy 50, and I ship these into Amazon's fulfillment center, I can now run ads on those, and those ads will give me a ton of data on what people are looking for. In other words, it is the most dependable way to find out what people are searching for, far better than any software you can get, because it's actually coming from customers themselves on Amazon not even from the competitors, but the people who will pay for it. And if I notice a lot of people are searching polka dotted purple grill cleaners from the PPC keywords, because I have a broad match, so it's very open to whatever. They might search something different but similar, so it still populates in my PPC campaign report. Now I know that there's demand, there's interest in polka dotted purple grill cleaners. So I'm using PPC to find out what other people want. Then I go to Amazon.com and I search purple polka dotted grill cleaners, and I notice no one is selling those, yet people are searching for them. So that just told me there's an opportunity to sell a product that isn't being sold yet. PPC is the only product out there, or the only tool out there that can actually allow you to do that. So to go back to Alan's question, 1000% yes, you can do that. And great question. All right, let's keep going. Next question. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you. I have a product idea that is not in the market yet. Because of that, I have no data to compare. I'm very familiar with this scenario. Emily, I'm going to give this one to you first because it sounds like an inventor kind of question. So he's got a product idea that is not in the market. He has no data to measure it with. How do you suggest I go about it? I am scared to do it since this will be my first product to launch. What are your first thoughts, Emily?
So the really cool thing about Amazon is that it's a platform where people come ready to buy. And just because they don't yet have your solution to the problem doesn't mean they're not looking in other ways, or that products that are not anything like yours don't at least attempt to solve that problem. So the real thing you need to do, I mean, it's unlikely that you've invented something that's so, out there that nobody would recognize it. It's possible, but it's probably within the realm of being recognizable. You need to establish demand just like you would if there were products already on Amazon. So if it was the grill brush and you've invented a wire grill brush and that doesn't exist, people are still buying Brillo pads, for example, to clean their grill. Much better. But when they go to look for Brillo pads, you're establishing the demand is there, the need is there. So you got to be really clever about it. It's a way more complicated research method, but it's actually way better because if you can bring it to market, you're golden.
Over here. I just want you guys to see Alan, and he's my other lifeline. So if you really stump me and Emily, he's coming in to help. And they call him the ninja. Emily, for some reason, they can't see your video. I can see it, but for some reason, the members can't. They can hear you, but they can't see you, just so you know.
Huh, weird. Okay.
Okay, cool. Did that fix it?
Yeah, I can see it now.
The ninja fixed it. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, so I love your answer. Did you guys hear what she said? If you come up with the idea that we need grill cleaners, pretend these are not on Amazon. So how do I know there's demand? Well, they're buying Brillo pads to clean. You know there's a demand for the end use of the product. In other words, Brandon, don't focus on the product. Focus on the purpose for which it is being built. No one buys this to hang on the wall because I love these. These are so cool. I just carry it with me when I go to the coffee shop, when I walk around town. You know what I mean? Like, people don't do that. They buy it because they want it to do a job for them. What is the job? Well, the job is to give me a clean grill. Wait a minute. People are already buying Brillo pads to clean grills. So yeah, of course there's a demand there. I can see that. You're gonna be clever with it. And then you transfer that over to, okay, guys, we have a better way of accomplishing the same thing. One of my favorite illustrations of this, Emily, is toothbrushes versus floss. Toothbrushes have been out for the longest time, since the time of the Egyptians, 3,000 years ago, but floss has only been out since the 1800s. So toothbrushes have been out a long time. Essentially, they do the same thing. They clean your teeth. Someone found a better way to get into the gums and clean the teeth better. Can you guys try a floss? How is it, Emily? Is it okay? All right. But you already know the demand is there from toothbrushes, but you're coming in with a different kind of product to ultimately accomplish the same purpose. Now, Alan, if you are still unsure and you're like, man, yeah, but I don't even see any product that accomplishes this purpose, you might be better going to a crowdfunding campaign like Indiegogo or Kickstarter, where you actually don't spend any money manufacturing. You just get a prototype. You create one badass video, you post it, and you tell the world, hey guys, I'm looking for people to fund the building of this. Here are all the perks you're gonna get, and I'm trying to raise, $20,000 so I can launch this. What that does, if the video is well done, is it tests the market before you spend money, other than the prototype. It's really, really cool. And they have different there's different nuances with both of those platforms, Indiegogo and Kickstarter, that you can leverage them both actually in tangent to each other, which we could go into at a different time. Okay, let's keep going. What's up, Profit Business Guru? How you doing, Patrick? Good to see you, man. He said, Emily is the lifeline. I love it. Is this private label cost, says Joel. I don't understand the question. We are talking about private label brand building. Yes. No problem, True Gamer Boy. You got it. Okay, here's the next question. How's it going, Ananth? Hello. Can we differentiate a product without budget or on a low budget? I'll take this one first, and then Emily, whatever you want to add to it. And I am back. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. That was really weird. It completely lost connection. That just came back. That was random. Okay. So the question is from Inath. Can you still hear me, Emily? Great. Okay. The question was, can we differentiate a product with a budget or on a low budget? So you're going to have a budget no matter what, right? I mean, if you have money to buy the product you're going to source, you have to have some money. And the lowest cost way to differentiate a product is going to be perceived value. If I said, look, I found a better way, we're going to have a thicker mesh here for cleaning the grills, that is a real value and that costs more. But if I said, man, we just need pink ones or purple polka dot ones, that's perceived value, or much better packaging so that my product looks way better than everyone else who was pretty crappy packaging. That's an example of a very low cost method of differentiation. And you can do that. I know of one particular individual who there was a bunch of knives being sold, and you guys probably heard me share this story. He decided to just change the packaging. And so he added straw in a little nice box, and that was it. The only thing different was the packaging, and boom, it began to sell like crazy. He built a brand around that. Now it's risky because someone else could come along and do the same thing, but once you've captured the market for that, it does make it harder once you have brand equity, so you have to move quickly. Anything you want to add to that, Emily?
Just that being clever is free. And if you can be more clever, it doesn't mean you need a custom mold and all these kind of things. You could repurpose an existing product for a new market. You could just make the handle ergonomic. You could do lots of different things that are very clever, but more importantly, that are obvious to the end user. Because color and packaging, you run certain risks that people can copy you. But if you make something clever enough that people can see your photo and get what it is, why it's better, that usually doesn't cost, much more than the product would in the first place.
Yeah, really good. Here's an interesting question. Dan Forster says, what is Project Zero? And you trying to stump us? I know this one because I know the guy who's largely responsible for promoting it with Amazon. He actually spoke at Just One Dime's conference called Ecom 2019 and he talked a lot about it. So I'm going to cheat and lean on him because I've applied for Project Zero. They haven't responded to me yet. So I don't know if I'm approved yet or not, but I can explain it to you. Yes. Project Zero is like transparency on steroids. In other words, every single one of your products, not just each kind, but every product receives its own special code. And that code is on every single one and it's unique. And you pay just a few cents for each code. What that means is when that product is sent into Amazon's fulfillment center and someone buys, if that code is not one of the codes connected to your brand, Amazon will not ship it. They will stop and they will consider that seller illegitimate. In other words, if someone's trying to sell your product and yours has the code and theirs doesn't, then they will shut them down. It also gives you the ability to shut them down. Emily, I never dreamed this day would come. Patrick, who's watching this, I imagine you can't imagine this either. The fact that we can actually go in to another seller and shut their listing down because they are not using the code that is unique to our product. In other words, they're selling a counterfeit product, one that we differentiated. Now, granted, you guys, your product, you have to be brand registered, you have to have a trademark, and you have to have a very good plan of differentiation to justify Amazon Project Zero for your brand. Amazon is not going to say, look, they're selling the same thing you are, yours is the same. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you built it and it's unique and it's differentiated and it's attached to your brand, that's where you can protect it. You also can remove sellers who are hijacking your listing. You can remove them. Now, obviously, some sellers will abuse this. Amazon said they will watch that very closely. And if someone abuses that, they could get their own account shut down. So obviously, it needs to be legit. Look at it this way, guys. Imagine you imagine you came here to Austin, you sat down with me here at this couch, and we said, guys, we're going to build a whole new product, a whole new line of products. People are going to love it. We're not just going to say, oh, that's selling on Amazon. Let me buy it from Alibaba and sell it too. That is dumb thinking. Some people do it. Don't do that, you guys. If you're going to do that, go to arbitrage, which is also a great model, but it's a different model. But I see a lot of people taking arbitrage thinking and applying it to private label, and it doesn't work. It will get your account suspended because now you're selling a counterfeit product. You're not really building something unique. And just because a Chinese supplier says, hey, we'll build that for you, no problem, and right there you can see the trademarked brand, and you go look up uspto.gov and you can see the patent. They'll do it. They're happy. They want the money. They're not going to be penalized for that. Just because a supplier in Alibaba will build it does not mean Amazon will accept it. Okay? Remember that. Because China is not under American law. Even under international trade, we're very limited on what you could do to a Chinese factory for selling you counterfeit goods. First of all, because you would be accountable first because you were the buyer. So my point is, make sure you differentiate your product so that it truly is unique from the rest. Emily, any questions any thoughts on that?
I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay, let's keep going then. All right, Emily, I'll give this one to you first. If your initial startup costs are $3,000, how much of that should go towards the initial order, the first batch of inventory, and how much should be set aside for other things like your secondary shipment, PPC costs, etc.? What would you do, Emily? What is your take on this?
Yeah, so you need to look at sales velocity of your competitors, and that should determine your first order as well as your cash set aside for your second order. And of course, you don't want to over order, but you also don't want to run out of stock as you're trying to build your brand. So look at sales velocity from the top, 10 to 20 competitors and see what kind of product they're moving per day and plan accordingly. And don't be the person that says, I can't run PPC, I can't afford it. If you've built your product correctly and you've built things correctly, the margin that you have set aside should be able to cover PPC for you. So assume basically that that's a per unit cost to run advertising, because otherwise you can't rank and establish yourself as a serious seller. So build that kind of cost in. Excellent.
Yeah. The general rule of thumb I like to use on this, Patrick, is 75%. So 75% goes to my first launch. I still have 25% I'm holding just in case. But similar to what Emily said, you're building the cost in. When I launch my product, I am ultimately losing money for a short time. As soon as it starts to rank well, because it's differentiated well and it's converting, now I start to make money. So I'm going to use that money to help my next product order for that second batch. And I love what you said about sales velocity as well. You need to know, how many times do I have to sell this per day just in order to get on the first page? And how much will it cost me to get there? And at the beginning, obviously you're going to be guesstimating, you're going to be forecasting, you're not going to know exactly, but you have a general idea because you can even see your CPC costs through tools like Scope in advance before you even launch. Although I'd always say multiply that cost that they say by 1.25 just to ensure, because they tend to be ultra conservative. And you need to be more liberal than that to be safe. You can also see how much the fees are for each sale. And once you drop that into a spreadsheet, you can get a guesstimate of how much am I going to have left over if I sell this many units over this period of time. Now, just one more thought, guys. If your first batch is too small of an order, it puts you at risk, because by the time you've launched and just starts to get selling, even though you can close your listing, if there's no hijacker, so your BSR doesn't get hurt ultimately, you didn't make money yet. In other words, the bigger the first batch is, it gives you more time for the first several hundred units to go out. That's just getting it launched, and then you start making profit. So don't be too conservative on that first batch, or you will end up running out of money. In other words, have enough to get you there and to make money before your second order. But if you can hold on to 25% of your total capital for that product launch so that you have enough to help with the second, that's what I prefer. In the early days, I didn't do any of that. I just started selling and I learned as I went. And be okay with that, guys. Let me say this. If you will simply, after this video, for everyone who's not selling yet, go start selling, go begin, go take the next step. You're going to be so many light years ahead, those people who say, let me wait till I got it right. And then 2 years later, yeah, I'm still thinking about it. And 4 years later, yeah, I'm still. Because here's the thing. Proportionally speaking, there are more people going to Amazon to buy right now than people going to Amazon to sell. And the majority of people who do go to Amazon to sell are stopping because they don't know what they're doing. They're not getting trained. They're not seeking out people who are doing it for a people like myself, people like Emily, who are in it every day, constantly experiencing the ups and the downs and the ebbs and the flows. So it's better to move to action quickly and now and learn as you go versus let me make sure everything's perfectly planned out when I feel safe and secure. Entrepreneurship is for the bold and the brave who want to make a lot of money. It is not for the safe and the secure. And if you're a person who's a super high security gland, you probably won't ever make a lot of money unless you're willing to let that come down and bring up the enjoyment of risk. Any person who's extremely wealthy, they always understand risk and they see it as one of those assets that could go south if they're not careful, but it's part of that process. It's part of who you are. You have to take risk if you want to make money. And guys, I would rather risk being an entrepreneur, becoming a multi-billionaire than I would take the risk of I'm just going to work for this same company 9 to 5 that I don't even care about, that I dread every day, and the people don't care about me for the rest of my life so I can have a retirement at the end of my life. And that retirement is so horrible, I can't even take my family to dinner more than once a month without the debit card being declined or the check bouncing. Can you tell I speak from experience? All right, let's keep going. Hey, Instagrammers, I'm not ignoring you guys. I love you guys. What we do every Wednesday is right now, I have my computer set up right here. That's why I'm looking here, not at you guys. I see you. I want you to know that. But we do these on YouTube on Wednesdays. It's sort of a special for a little over usually like 30, 40, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. And it's just live Q&A to answer any questions people have. So you guys can still hear us. You're going to get value from that. But this is the one day where I'm focused on YouTube. And the other 4 days, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm talking to you directly. So feel free to hop onto YouTube if you want to engage in this conversation, or just stay here and listen and learn what you can. In the past, Emily, I would try to go back and forth, but it was crazy. It's like there's so many questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay. Next question. Emily, would you run more than one Autopen campaign on the same Aysen? What is your strategy on that? What are your thoughts?
I haven't. In fact, I use auto campaigns in the beginning, but they haven't served me very well with the product that I have now. I'm still going to try them on the products that I'm about to launch. But I'm completely fascinated with product targeting PPC right now instead of top of search, because there's a lot of companies that have a lot of data who are saying 84% of people who click on a competitor's ad are actually getting that from product detail pages.
Right.
And so I've shifted my focus even away from traditional PPC for a while to try that. So I haven't ever run more than one automatic campaign. And in fact, I use them very lightly. But that may change. That just might be for the sector I'm in, that wasn't as useful for me.
Gotcha. Awesome. I am scrolling and scrolling. I cannot believe how many questions we have today. Like this, I think we could go for 7 hours and we still be answering questions. So what I'm going to do, and this is extremely hard for me to do, is I'm going to give you guys short answers so we can cover more. I just want to say I agree with Emily. Is that enough for you guys? I'm not going to add anything to that. Okay. Maricela, hi Seth, can you explain more about molds? Yes, absolutely. How much are they usually? They can be anywhere from, the lowest I've seen is $1,200. They could be up to $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, depending on what you're getting a mold for. A couple things. Yes, I'm so glad you're asking this. I wish more people would do this, Emily, because I think it'll help a ton of people. First of all, when you do a mold, you're doing it so that you can build out a new kind of product. Let's use our grill cleaner again as an example. Let's say I want a new shape of this, a whole new design. That may require a mold, especially if it's made out of plastic, though it depends on the material. So when I get a new mold created, it means I'm creating something or having a supplier create something that no one else is currently selling on Amazon, which differentiates me. The way I do it is I go to a molding company that is not an Alibaba, because if you go to Alibaba and ask them to do it, chances are they're going to outsource it to a molding company. Then they might even reuse your mold, which you paid for the mold. It's a one-time fee, and now create products and sell them in Alibaba to other sellers. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, my design is being sold on Amazon too. Well, that's because you gave it to the wrong person. So find a molding factory that does not sell on Amazon. I would start just by Googling Chinese molding factories. After you develop a relationship with them, when you do go to China, you meet with them, you can negotiate lower prices, and you just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow from there. Done with that question. I'm moving on to the next one. Great question, Marcella. Okay. Can you help me with formula when to send new inventory to Amazon before it runs out of stock every time? A lot of times I had to wait a lot of time for the inventory because I didn't calculate it right. Emily, is there anything you want to share on this? I can share on it freely as well. It's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead. You can take that one.
Okay. So when it comes to inventory, go back to some of what Emily said. Understand how many products you have to sell per day in order to get where you want on the first page. And I'm assuming you want to be on the first page. So let's just say I know I have to sell, just to keep it simple, 100 products a day over a 10-day period to get ranking where I want. So now I got 1,000 products I realize I need. So if that, let's just pretend I need 1,000 products for the month to keep it simple. That means I have to go back and say, okay, if I'm going to run out in a month, but it takes my manufacturer an entire month to rebuild new products, then I need to think, okay, I need to buy more. 2,000, that covers me for 2 months. Now, towards the end of month number 1, if I have enough time to have it built, shipped, sit in Amazon's fulfillment center before I run out, I'm good to go. Does that make sense? So it doesn't I have a formula I could share with you guys, but I want you to understand the reasoning behind it, and you can create your own formula out of it. If you know how many products you're going to sell to get to page 1, how do I know? Well, if Bobby McGee is one of my competitors and he's selling 100 a day, he's on the first spot on page 1, that means I need to sell that many a day to get there. Okay, so 100 a day over a 30-day period. See where I'm going, you guys? So now we have 3,000 products. So I need 3,000 for that month. But wait a minute, I don't just need 3,000. I need enough to give me time to get the next product shipped in. So once you look at it from that perspective, it's so much easier to figure out exactly how many you need. All right, next question. Let's see, fishbowl calculators for orders. I keep going. Are we starting with brand building? So we're talking about brand building. Yes, you can do resell. Another question, yes. Our brand new Arbitrage membership will be released very soon. You guys are going to hear about it. And so we will announce that when it's ready. It is over 5 times as much content as the original, way better. I'm very excited to share it with you guys. So yes. Is it a good idea to do seller fulfilled Prime? Emily?
You can, but then as far as I'm aware, you don't have access to PPC. And I think every preference for Amazon sellers goes to FBA because you're showing them I'm serious. You guys fulfill it for me. I think shipping is much more efficient. There's just a laundry list of reasons that it's better to go with FBA most of the time. You could always do both if it's advantageous, but I'd say FBA almost 100% of the time is better.
100% agreed. The only exception I've ever seen to that is for some people who have a network of shipping companies where they get ridiculously low cost for shipping. And it's for large things like furniture, big stuff, where the fee to have it in Amazon's fulfillment center is actually higher than their own fees to have it shipped and stored in their warehouse because Amazon's space is very precious and it's expensive. And in some situations, people have completely crushed the market doing that. But I agree with you 100%. Most of the time, FBA is going to be the preferred option because it converts better. If I see something as Prime versus not, I'm going to buy Prime almost every time. Candace says, I know trademarking is important. Can I wait until I have a decent cash flow to trademark? I went ahead and got an LLC. Emily, what are your thoughts?
100%. Until you have proof of concept and you're further down the line, you can wait as long as you're comfortable waiting. If you're solid on the idea and you feel like it's worth protecting, that's something only you will know where that tipping point is.
Right.
But there's advantages to having a trademark, but get to cash where you can manage your inventory super efficiently, then worry about a trademark.
Yep, absolutely. Breezy has a great question. Where do you find, if she puts in quotes, the right products? I love how you put that. I understand. I have the sentiment for what you're talking about. So begin with keywords. Begin with keywords. Keywords are like the little matchmaker between the shopper and the seller. And you want the two to meet so there's a transaction and the baby is money. So keywords are how people find your product. If I go to Amazon, what do I actually type in? Do I literally put this into the search bar? No, I type in a keyword. What's the keyword? An example of a keyword: grill cleaner, barbecue grill cleaner. There you go, barbecue grill cleaner scrubber. I type in the keyword, and that keyword is the connector between me, who needs to clean my nasty grill, and you, who is selling the awesome tool that will make the nasty grill beautiful and sparkly clean. So start with keywords. What I mean is you find keywords that are generating a lot of income, but don't have super high competition, and the products are differentiable. If everyone's complaining that these are too heavy for like 90% of the top sellers, I'm going to create a lighter one with a lighter material so the shoulder doesn't get so sore. I just differentiated. See? Therefore, the reviews and the price have less an impact on whether or not people will sell. In fact, there are times where you can actually charge quite a bit more for your product. I know you've done this. I've done the same, and get more sales because the perceived value is greater and you fix something better than anyone else did. So again, to answer your question, you start with keywords. If you're not a member of Just One Dime, click the link below. It's the second link. It'll see like Amazon FBA, and read that and see if it's like the full freaking on everything you need to know about Amazon private label. These 5 courses have been evolving for years now. Like every day they're updated. In fact, I can see someone on here right now who helps me update them on this channel. They're constantly updated with more and more value so that you know exactly what you need to know to succeed on Amazon. We have people who make several million a month who started at 0. We have other people who never even bought something on Amazon, and now they're extremely wealthy today because they followed the steps in the training. All right. Maverick Methods, how are you doing, my brother? He says, Just When I'm headquarters is looking top notch. Great to see you. Question, how much is the quantity that you advise to start with? 500 pieces, 5,000 pieces? Emily, what would your advice be?
Well, I got early advice from a seller that does quite well, and he said never send less than 100 units to be fulfilled FBA, just because it wasn't a hard science kind of number, but it was his experience that if you send less than that, Amazon doesn't quite know how to distribute your inventory throughout the country. I think 100 for most markets is going to be way too low. Again, it comes back to sales velocity. There's no right answer for that. The right answer is based on how to get to page 1, what quantity that means, and what your competitors are moving.
Very well said. I couldn't add anything to that. Guys, I'm sorry that we cannot get to every question, but I really want you guys to ask difficult questions too. I would love for you to stump us if you can. And if you do, I will send you a free iPad. So if you have a question, bring it next week. Next week at Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central. Not next week. Next week we're off, and here's why. I'm going to be in New York. We're going to be at a whole bunch of places like Central Park, walking around, talking to people, meeting with some very high-end e-commerce entrepreneurs, and interviewing them, which is going to be super cool. But we will be on Instagram live doing a lot of that. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, do that. You'll get a ton of value out of that. We may do some interviews that even end up on YouTube as well. So next week, I'm in New York. But the following Wednesday, we'll be back here doing another Stump Seth session. You may see some new faces as well in the future. Emily, thank you so much for being here today. Everybody, here's my encouragement to you. Take all the free content you got. This isn't just a few tips. This is years and years of selling in Amazon combined, condensed. Here you go. Here's what you can do on a platter. Go do something with it. Take it and run with it. If you were not a Just One Dime member and you're like, I want to do this, I want to make money, we will bust our butts to do everything we can to help you get there. If you're willing to put in the work, we will put in the training that you need. Emily, any last words before we close this up?
I would just say, I was talking to a member today and we were agreeing on something. I'm sorry, talking to a non-member who's becoming a member.
Yeah.
And we were agreeing on something. The free content that's out there about selling is fantastic, but it's a little bit dangerous because you feel like, oh, well, you just do that. And that was what I thought. And that's how I launched. And then I joined Just One Dime and thought, oh no, there's so much more. And so I would just encourage you, if you're on the fence, what's behind, the gated walls of Just One Dime is so, so valuable and crucial to success. So,
yeah.
So click the link below like Seth talked about.
Absolutely. And for those of you guys who live in New York or near, if you want to be where I'm going to be, like maybe at a restaurant or something for an hour or two, email me, Seth@justonedime.com, Seth@justonedime.com. I would love to meet you in person. All right. You guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much, Emily.
Bye, guys.
All right. See you later.